When you start getting results, you may not, you may be surprised at the reactions you would get. Most of them positive, some of them negative, but the negative ones can be very loud. As a sequel to my previous video, I did realize after having those results, particularly after my first professional exam in medical school, that success sometimes comes with consequences. Some of these would be positive, some of these negative. Now, the effect of that result was a cascade that spread across my senior colleagues, those who were my colleagues, and also my younger colleagues. Now, in these three group of persons, I got comments, some positive, obviously, like, well done, that's inspiring. Obviously, the younger colleagues we had in school were challenged, spurred on. People read more, I guess, believed that something of that nature was very possible. But then I had these echoes around me who were saying that I was a very selfish person who felt that some people failed and then there was someone getting three distinctions, right? And sometimes I hear these things as reported info, meaning someone heard someone saying it and they'll come and tell me, oh, well, this person was saying this. So all of this actually had effect on me. I wasn't new to negative talks like this necessarily, but the intensity with which they came, in fact, I'm just recalling now, there was someone who particularly went to a mentor of mine who, she felt maybe cheated. I really can't explain how humans can be sometimes, but again, she was echoing the same thing of the fact that she felt like I didn't carry as much people along. Like, I'm one person. I was actually in this struggle as much as you guys were. But obviously I had, better results, so to say. People had so much to say. So, but this got to me, right? And now I was in fourth year and going through the postings, fourth year, if you're familiar with medical school at all, pathology and pharmacology, it's a very demanding class. In retrospect, I would usually say fourth year was probably the most demanding class in medical school. And so I would notice myself during tests, when I'm writing tests, whether MCQs or theoretical exams, I'm like, Gospel, don't do too much. This is what I'm telling myself. Gospel, don't do too much. Maybe you've written enough, maybe that's sufficient. You've written enough. So I carried this mentality up until the professional exams. Even while in the professional exam hall, I would still hear that thing like, Gospel, that's okay. Like, don't go overboard. Don't do too much. And in my mind then, what I was thinking was, okay, maybe performing less is going to be of benefit to some persons because I was trying to be rational with what they were saying. So some of the rationale I got from people was the fact that, oh, if you score so high, if they were going to add some marks for other people to pass, they might say, oh, look at this person who did so well. Why should we be adding marks for people when there was, kind of this kind of performance? Or if we add marks across board, some people will now overperform. There were just a lot of things I heard. So I was like, well, maybe that kind of extreme will be of benefit to some persons. But that wasn't the case. Instead, when they released the 400 level results, now by the grace of God, I was best student in pathology and pharmacology. But the performance of the class as a whole wasn't as great as the Part 1 MBBS exams. But now I didn't get any distinction. I didn't get a distinction in pathology. I didn't get a distinction in pharmacology. And then I sat down. I was heartbroken for two things. Heartbroken because I felt I should change myself, and heartbroken because the class did not pass in bulk, right? We had a bad outcome, particularly with respect to pharmacology. And moving on to year 5, I told myself, coming to reality now, like, my performance wasn't going to be the reason why some people did not do well or some people will do well. Speaking now in the general landscape of the class, it's necessary that people should own their performance. If you didn't do well, take responsibility for that and not cast that responsibility on another person. And we forget that sometimes when we allow our light shine, you also give other persons the permission to allow their light shine. So this was my observation in school then. Usually when they release maybe assessment result or test result, when you see someone doing well, even for me, there were some colleagues I had who were obviously like high flyers too. Like when I see their performance, there is this motivation like, wow, that was good. It just tells you something is possible. And then you start to reach for a greater height, if I'll put it that way. And I came to the realization that that's what my performance could also be doing for some persons who were seeing it in a positive light, whether those who were my younger colleagues, those who were my colleagues, they could see and be like, okay, this is a possibility. Someone is getting this. Let's aim for this. Now, what happens when people start to aim higher is that by virtue of that aiming higher, they are more likely to do well, right? So let me clarify what that looks like for you. So let's say someone starts aiming for a distinction because someone got a distinction. It's very likely that this person would come very close, let's say a 67, a 65, as the case may be, rather than they were aiming to just pass to get a 50, and then they'll get a 46 or a 47, and then they have a receipt. So you can imagine that it's like a cascade. Just from one outcome or from the outcome of a few persons, the high flyers in class, other persons can just aspire to be better. And by virtue of that, the general performance for the class will be better. The general performance for the set coming behind will be better just because people are aiming higher. And so this was the perspective I settled for before leaving school. And I made up my mind from 5th year, 6th year, that I wasn't going to make any attempt to dim that light because some persons felt uncomfortable. And that's the reality of life. People will react to your success in different ways. It's not really a thing for you to start blaming them or trying to. It's just, I concluded, that this was just human nature. And maybe also try to catch myself how I would feel sometimes if I read something very inspiring about someone online. I'll have to be like, no, there's no reason to resent this person. You should rather take inspiration from this. So it was just a human flaw, right? You may be listening to this now and you find yourself in that position. Maybe you're aspiring to do well, and there are one or two persons within your circle who are doing very well. It's not the case that you should envy them. It's not the case that you should start saying negative things about them. Leave from that inspiration and put in your best efforts to see that you can also do as well and maybe even better, right? So I need you to be moving with this perspective. We are on this journey of excellence, in pursuit of excellence. When you start getting results, you may be surprised at the reactions you would get. Most of them positive, some of them negative, but the negative ones can be very loud. They can be very audible. But don't make the mistake I made where you're intentionally trying to dim your light because you think it will make other persons feel uncomfortable, or you think it will make other persons perform better. It's not the case. That's a fallacy. I fell for it once. I do not want you to repeat the mistake I made. So you have the clearance, you have the permission. Fly as high as possible, as far as possible. Once again, it's me, Gospel, on Scholar's Diary, and I'll see you in the next episode. I wish you all the best. Thank you.